from witnessing it in person, that's kind of what it feels like. My main interest for this is Sarah Sigmund's daughter's comeback, and yesterday we watched the event with the pistol squats, and it was really obvious that she was going slow and steady on the pistol squats because obviously she had an ACL repair and that is going to really aggravate that knee. So it was clear that she was being a bit more conservative. And today we've got Linda, and that won't be on the live stream, I'm going to film some of that. And I think there's squat cleans in it, so that might be a bit of a factor. She's sitting currently slightly outside the top 10. And I think this is something that you don't see when you are viewing the online stream. You often just see the people leading the heat, the people that are winning, and you don't see the other people in the back, like your favourite athletes and how they're doing. And for me, like, Sarah is one of my favourite athletes. The rest of the people that you expect to be in the top 10, like Annie, Laura Horvath, I think I say that wrong every time. All of the others, they're all in the top 10, but I think Sarah is about 13th at the moment. So obviously we really want her to like claw her way back and get in. I think it's 11 that go through, but I just really want to see how she does, and I'm really rooting for her, so I'll update you on that and whatever happens with her, because I think sometimes we just see who makes it and who doesn't make it, and we don't get the gaps filled in. We don't really understand why that happened, and that's something else that you don't really see. It's really clear and obvious here to see when people are really exhausted or when people are struggling with a movement. Like yesterday, a couple of people started failing the ring complexes. Oh, and Harry Lightfoot, who we're rooting for because he comes from Cornwall, he was one of those people. It was sad to watch. I'm sure that a lot of them have tried it before and some of them know. And there were loads of other men as well that were failing it, and women. It must be so difficult when a new movement comes up and it's something that you're struggling with. Hopefully we'll see him shine today though on the heavy lifting. On the men's side, it's really cool to see like BKG, like Jonakowski, all of that lot. Luka Jukic, he is insane. Like, he was so good on that first workout, and I'm excited to watch him in the rest of the competition. Some workouts play to their favours and some don't, and you can really tell when that's happening when you're actually here in person. That's definitely interesting to see. We're loving it so far. We are about to walk down. We've basically been walking everywhere because it's a lot cheaper, but also we made sure we got a hotel that was walking distance from the arena. It means we're doing like 12,000 steps a day, but it means we can get food on the way back, and we don't have to worry about public transport, because that obviously was absolute chaos when we came into Berlin in the first place, and I don't want to be getting on a tube and then missing the time and all of that. One thing I did notice is there are a lot of people cycling, and that is something that we might do. They have a lot of like e-bikes and stuff, and we're really excited to watch the first workout. I'll update you how it goes for some of the athletes we're watching out for. So this park is like on the way to the arena. This is where I've been walking through every day, and we were just saying earlier that pretty much Germany feels like trees, graffiti, cyclists. Oh, German architecture. I did like an art degree, so I know about like Bauhaus and like German architecture and that kind of stuff, and you can really see it. This park is really nice, and there's lots of like green spaces, which I'm really surprised at because you just don't get this in places like London. Starting off with Linda, we obviously watched the heats with Reggie Fasser and Harry Lightfoot in it. It's really cool to see the British guys like go for it. What was really cool about Harry though is he was going touch and go on a lot of these cleans. From quite early on in the start, he wasn't in that clip, but he is in some of the others. I think he's quite comfortable with heavy weights. I've seen him like at competitions down like in the local area, and he's definitely very good with heavy lifting. What was really frustrating is the commentators didn't notice that he was like up in the top. I think he was even winning at some point, but they kept saying that other people were winning, and he ended up coming second, I think, in this heat. He did amazing, but it was just unfortunate that they kind of missed out that he was doing so well. But he is probably relatively unknown in this space because he is new to semi-finals. It's the first time he's qualified, but it was really cool to see him like hang with some of the bigger athletes. So in the top heat, David Sharonki took quite an early lead. Funny story, I've actually met David Sharonki in a massage booth. It was back in Strength in Depth when that was like the qualifier, like the sanctional. And I was sat next to this guy, I had no idea who he was. And we were just chatting, and he was like, how is it going? How are you doing? And I'm like, yeah, it's really good. Like, I'm just doing the affiliate cup in a team, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, how are you doing? And he's like, yeah, pretty good. And then like 10 minutes later, he was literally announced to be going to the CrossFit Games as like Matt Fraser had won it. he was the one that got the qualification spot, and you would have had no idea. He was so humble, so chill, so chatty. He was just like a lovely guy. The difference with him was he was cleaning straight into the squat, this technique you can see here, and it's just much faster. It's not as efficient, it'd be more tiring because you're basically cutting out the pull, but it cut down so much time. He came away with the win. I was keeping my eye on Bronislaw because he is so strong. Like, of course he's going to do well in this workout. Something I will point out is we don't actually get updates on where people are placing. We don't understand, like, after the heat is gone, we don't know who won it. We don't get an update of the times, so you guys actually will have a better knowledge of who placed where, having watched the live stream, because they give you those updates. Unless we keep up to date with them, we don't see them at all. Interestingly, BKG was way farther behind the pack than I expected him to be, and what's so interesting about watching him is he just seems to have this like confidence. He doesn't seem to like stress out. He's like quite comfortable with having to climb up the leaderboard, but he was quite far behind in this workout, and he just kept going. He stayed quite chill. I think towards the end it was quite clear that he wasn't happy with his performance, and that he knew that he's still got quite a way to climb to qualify, but it is what it is. So to start with, on the women's side, I got some clips of Taylor Howe because she's just amazing. Like, she started in Olympic weightlifting in the UK, and I'm pretty sure that they said she had to choose between Olympic weightlifting and CrossFit, and she chose CrossFit, and she's a strong lifter.
And let's make some noise for our individual athletes coming out onto the competition floor.
I should have said more about Jennifer Muir in the last video. She was amazing in the previous day. She actually ended up winning one of the workouts, but I didn't get any footage of that. She started off this workout very strong and came out with a big lead. Jennifer actually has a powerlifting background and also triathlons, I think, so she was doing amazing. Sarah was obviously in this heat, and she didn't start out too hot. She was kind of in the middle of the pack, and again it did look like she was being like a little bit more conservative with some of the squat cleans than some of the other people. Jennifer had adopted this kind of the David Sharonke style technique where she was just cleaning straight into the squat. Obviously she's got quite a lot of upper body strength, so she's able to do that. And then Annie and Gabby Magala started to catch up with her, and I think this was because they announced that Jennifer had said that she wanted to win the workout. And honestly, I think Annie and Gabby both took it as a challenge, and you could see like the fire light up within them, and they just started to chase her down basically, which was epic to watch. Jennifer still like tried to hold on as much as she could, and I think she still finished quite far up there, but Gabby and Annie both overtook her in the end, and then basically started to race each other. They were neck and neck for quite a long time. I think it's that old strategy of trying to stick with each other and like push right at the end. Annie did get like quite a costly no rep with one of her squat cleans. I think it was in the round of 2, so she ended up having to do 3, and she literally didn't even blink. She just did the 3rd. It was pretty epic to watch her just like not even care. It might be this one actually. We were also still keeping our eyes on Sarah, obviously, and like Emma Tall and some of the others were doing amazingly well. You couldn't really tell who was going to end up winning it until right at the end, but the crowd started to get really excited, and the atmosphere in the stadium was insane. You don't really see on the live stream what the atmosphere is like, and it almost seems like the stadium is like pretty empty, but it is not. Like, it was packed, and a lot of people have compared it to like the Torian Pro, like it being that full and that amazing. So I think we're getting towards the end of the workout here, and this is when Annie and Gabby basically started racing, and the crowd just started going wild. I wish there was a live stream so you could have witnessed this race. And of course Laura wasn't too far behind. She's a strong athlete, so we obviously expected her to come on the top. She did so well. And then Emma McQuaid, who has a huge amount of support from Ireland in the crowd behind us. I think we were within the Irish. Sarah stayed on the floor for quite a while afterwards. I think that was potentially her round of 3. She wasn't the only one though. There were quite a lot of people still kind of chipping away, but I feel like at this point she just wasn't in the kind of top 10 area where she needed to be. Everybody else that we expect to kind of be in the top were like where they should be, and obviously Sarah was trying to make some gains in her performance at this stage, and I feel like at this point we kind of realised that she was struggling to do that. She was struggling to like move her way up, but obviously we were still rooting for her. But regardless of placing, she wasn't that far out on points at all at this point, so it definitely could still be done, and we were still rooting for her, and the crowd were definitely still rooting for her. They were so loud. I think of all the athletes she probably had the most support. Okay, so I just found somewhere absolutely in the middle of nowhere in the park that's just next to it. I know I said before there is like not a lot of greenery in London, but what I mean, I know there's like Hyde Park and stuff, but here there's just trees literally everywhere, like not just located in parks, it's everywhere, like in the streets, in all of the streets there are trees. It's crazy. So hopefully I've already updated you about how all the athletes got on. That was so good to watch, like especially the end bit when Gabby and Annie were just like fighting it out. I thought Annie was gonna win it, so I had my camera focused on Annie most of the time, but it turns out that Gabby took it by like 0.3 of a second, which is insane. I do think a lot of it was to do with the fact that Jennifer apparently had said that she wanted to win the heat, and as soon as they heard that, they seemed to take it as kind of a challenge, and I really love seeing that as well, like when something clicks and they're just like, I'm gonna go for this. I love seeing that kind of thing, and like the little bits of like, not like drama, but you know what I mean, like the body language changes when you see someone just like go from kind of pacing to like in the zone, like I want to win this. Interestingly, there are quite a few empty lanes on day 2, so especially in heat 1 of the men, I think there were like 4 or 5 empty lanes. That's a sign that a lot of people have potentially got injured, which is a real shame, but I think a lot of people were expecting after the ruck ring complex. There's a whole debate to be had on whether they should be adding a ruck. I know Rich Froning said that that was one of the things that got him injured, using a ruck for ring muscle ups, and it's better with a vest. I think all CrossFit can do is take feedback, and I think that they do need one of those athlete committees where they can like come to a general consensus, especially if something is like not safe. Like last year we had the issue with the ropes. On the men's side, kind of another dig at the commentators, they really did it. So Harry was absolutely smashing it. Harry Lightfoot, who's the guy from Cornwall that I've mentioned a few times, he was doing amazingly well, and the commentators didn't notice him at all until like the very last second, and I think he ended up coming second in his heat, but they kept like talking about literally everybody else in the heat, and we were like Harry's, I think at one point he was winning and nobody had noticed. They were saying that someone else was winning and someone else was in second and someone else was in third. He was just like flying under the radar, and obviously he's a newer athlete, we've not seen him come to semi-finals before, so I understand that they're maybe not looking at him, but he was literally in the middle and obviously all the lanes had the numbers on them. It was strange. I don't know how he stacked up against the other heat because he wasn't in the top heat, but he did really well, and it's just super cool to see somebody from the region of England that I'm from do so well. So Sarah didn't do too badly in that workout. She finished with quite a decent time. I don't think she finished like far in the top in that heat, but against the other heat, that heat was faster, so I think she's okay. She is currently sitting in 14th, so hopefully that'll bump her up a little bit, and I just really want to see her go to the games again. It's really clear that she's like not completely back to full strength because obviously she had an ACL repair, like that is gonna really impact you. I'm just really hoping that she does it, and it's really cool to see her anyway. Like she was probably one of my favourite athletes of all time, so it's cool to see her compete in person. So today, basically, we have assigned seats, but it seems to be a free-for-all and everybody is just taking whatever seats they can, which is frustrating because obviously some of the seats you pay more for, some of them you've got to get in really early in order to get them. Basically today it means, because we don't want that hassle, that we're having to stay in there quite a lot. So there's no going out for lunch today, so we're probably going to have to get some food in the venue, and the food in there is really expensive and the queues are massive, and it's just not necessarily the kind of food that you want. Like there is some salad and stuff, but I don't know, it's just something about venue food, it's just always a bit of a letdown. Thankfully the water situation is slightly better because I managed to sneak in a bottle today and I'm just filling that up from the sink, so hopefully I won't be dehydrated for the entire day today. But because of the seating situation, there's going to be no time for us to go and see any vendors or anything today, because if we leave our seats are gone. I think I'd rather have a better position for watching than to just go around and have a look at some t-shirts. We'll probably do that tomorrow. It's just a load of like logistics that you have to deal with while you're here. So the next event is the snatch event, and I'm really excited to watch that. We've also got a team event next that we're going to watch. We were planning on going out while that was on because we've seen a lot of team events over the last couple of days. I think we're going to stay in. I'm really excited to watch that event. Obviously it's heavy barbells, so it's one of my favourite things, and I can't wait to see who does well in that. I'm thinking Laura will probably do really well. I expect to see Annie out there too. She's amazing at snatching. I'm gonna head back into the venue and try and seek out some food. Fingers crossed for me that it's nice food. I ended up having a burrito for lunch. It's actually really good, and they had like bands playing in the interim, which is so cool. Zach Wild was playing his beats at the start of the next workout. He is just so cool. He was probably one of the highlights of our whole weekend. This workout was 100% one of my favourite to watch of the whole weekend. I mean, of course it is, it's the lifting and I love lifting. The only part of it I wasn't really a fan of was like the first run was just not very interesting to watch, but obviously it kind of makes it a better test, and like Olympic weightlifters would see that as really difficult, like running an 800 metres and then going into a max snatch in a very short amount of time. It was pretty epic. Bronislaw was obviously the one to watch in this heat. I think he ended up lifting 295, which is a massive lift. Some of the commentators were saying that he should have gone for like 300, but I think he knew that it was just like comfortable. And unfortunately the guy was like standing right in my view, so I couldn't get a bit of footage for you, but he did the like standing on one leg thing. He's just such a showman. And I heard he's like really Instagram famous. I didn't realise that he was like more Instagram famous than any of the other athletes, but that's cool. And he like absolutely crushed the touch and go snatches as well, straight into the run, probably one of the fastest there. And then we get to the top heat with some of the bigger lifters, potentially, I don't know, Bronislaw really put up a heavy weight there, but Henrik Haapalainen was doing really well, Lazar obviously, Jonakoski was putting up some big weights, but my eyes the most of the time were on BKG because I was really rooting for him. Again, he had just this like air of confidence, like he was going to climb his way up, no problem, it wasn't going to be an issue, and within the last couple of seconds he managed to get this lift, which was 285, and the crowd went absolutely crazy for him, especially like the Iceland lot, which were over where the interview was being done.
He came through with a solid time. Ball's called.
Are we going to be seeing that time? Take it.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Big athlete off to the floor.
It was just an absolute free-for-all of people running over the line, but that was so cool to see. And next we get into the women's heat, so I've got a little bit of footage of Taylor Howe just because she's so amazing, and her Olympic lifting is just epic. Like, watch this. It's just like such perfect technique. She's so good, and I think she's definitely one to watch, especially like in the British scene. And she had no issue whatsoever with these touch and go snatches. She got onto the treadmill pretty fast in her heat, like one of the top ones definitely, but obviously she's comfortable with a barbell. She comes from an Olympic weightlifting background, so this is where her strengths lie.
Test number 4, powered by Bootspring. For load, our athletes start off with an 800 meter runner.
And then we got into the heat with Sarah Sigmundsdottir, and Jacqueline Dahlström is also in this heat, and I think this is just like a testament to the fact that the programming has changed quite a lot this year, and people that we expect to see in the top are not in the top. The whole crowd was screaming for Sarah every time she lifted, and also Emma McQuaid with her Irish crowd that were literally like around us at the time. It was amazing. Jennifer Muir was also amazing to watch. You can really tell that she has a massive strength base, and I definitely think she's one to watch over the next couple of years. Jacqueline Dahlström put up some good weights, and her technique was just so good. And then Sarah ended up hitting 185 here.
190.
What was so good about this workout is if an athlete didn't do as well as they wanted to do in the first round, like workout 4, you could tell they were just like angry and going full send in workout 5, and that was just like so cool to see. Amy Kringle is the one to watch here, and Sarah was clearly absolutely gunning for it. I think she was one of the first people to go on the treadmill. Oh, you can see Amy there just in front, and they were so fast. You could see they were just going full send, like straight out of the gate, and the hands went up so quickly. Like, we'd watched a few other heats before, and I just feel like this heat was a lot faster, or either that or the hype from the crowd.
Amy Kringle with 200 meters remaining. Ladies and gentlemen, Amy Kringle with a time of a
After watching that, we knew that the top heat was going to be absolutely epic to watch. Obviously, the first 800 metres was pretty chill. They were mostly pacing it because you wouldn't go full send on 800 metres before doing a max lift. That would be quite silly. Karen Forever is one to watch here. I haven't actually heard of her before, but her lifting was just so beautiful, and she also looks like quite long-limbed. I've got really long limbs, and it's hard to lift when you've got long limbs, but just have a look at this snatch. Honestly, like, Gabby Magala obviously at the back was doing really well, but look at that positioning, it's just so good. And as somebody that is relatively unknown, she had, well, relatively unknown on like the worldwide scale, she had so much support in the crowd. It was really cool to watch Annie lift. Like, Annie is one of my favourite people to watch lift, especially after that one at the games.
Make some noise for Gabby Magala!
And Gabby Magala had such a big crowd behind her as well. It was just amazing, like in the European regional, like each country getting behind their country athlete, and I don't think you get that anywhere else in the world.
She's under it, ladies and gentlemen!
And now looking for 200 also, Miguel, watch out, 205!
Annie Forza, 195. You have 10 seconds.
Laura Horvath, 210! Here we have test number 5.
At the start of the snatches, everyone was pretty much level. I think everybody here like finds this bar relatively easy, so they knew that it was going to be one on the run. So that seemed to be the priority. I don't think it mattered too much who got onto the runners at the same time. Like, as you can see there, Gabby probably was like 5th or 6th onto the runner, but that isn't going to matter. Karen Forever though, is still like quite high in the top. Hands started to go up really quickly, and then Gabby Magala just pulls out in front and takes the win, which is amazing. She won so many events this week as well. That was cool. And then Karen was next, and then after that all of the other athletes started to run through. There wasn't very much time between it. It's funny to see them all just absolutely dying at the end of the workout, having to go full send, and see some of them like do the interviews, and some of them like just high-fiving, like congratulating each other. We did go to have a look at some of the clothing in the stalls after this workout today, and there wasn't as many as I was expecting, to be honest. We didn't end up buying anything, but the park outside, the atmosphere was insane, and these people were not here for CrossFit. They had no idea that CrossFit was going on. They were like playing music, having barbecues. Like, Berlin seems to have such a like park culture. Then we went out for burgers in this cute little place and ordered way too much, though definitely did not eat. We had extra chips, we didn't realise that were going to come as extra. So it's the next day. I'm literally incapable of finishing a vlog on the same day. I just get so overwhelmed and so tired. Last night we went out and had burgers. I know it's not really a German food, but we've had quite a lot of German food anyway, and they were really good. They were literally amazing. Yesterday was so good. There was obviously a lot more individual workouts yesterday, and it was all of the lifting. I showed you a few clips of like the team stuff. That was really exciting to watch, especially with them just like repping out like really heavy cleans. And obviously that's the kind of workout that I would love to do personally. It looked like so much fun. My highlight of the day yesterday was probably watching Sarah lift and hearing the crowd go so crazy when she made lifts, and it's just so clear like how much support she's got. I think a lot of people, she's like CrossFit royalty at this point. Like, a lot of people just massively support her and want her to get back to the games. I think at the moment she's sitting in 12th, so going into the last day she's like one position out because 11 people go through in Europe. One thing I have noticed though is like across the world there are lots of people that we expect to qualify that actually aren't qualifying. Like, I know Danny Spiegel didn't qualify, which sucks. I wonder if there's just loads more people coming into the sport. That's what it seems like, especially in Europe. There are a lot more people that we've not heard of that are positioning in the top 10. And maybe as the sport is getting bigger and bigger, it's just going to get more competitive and harder to be in the top. So it might be that people don't make it one year and then take a year out to work on those weaknesses and then come back. And it might mean people have like off years and then years when they make it. From witnessing it in person, that's kind of what it feels like. Again, we've got a lot of people that are relatively unknown, like at the CrossFit Games level, like winning events in Europe and finishing really high in events. And if they start to be more consistent across the events, then they've got more of a chance in ending up in the top 10, and we're not going to see those people that have been in the top 10 for years and years, especially with people like Sarah, who she's obviously got an injury and had her ACL repaired, and that's going to have a huge impact. So I can't wait to watch the last couple of workouts. There's a lot of gymnastic stuff coming up, but I'm going to end this video here and make another one for the next day. When that video is uploaded, I'll put it right here so you can watch it next. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.